Hi, my name is Stefanie. My husband Kameron and I have 2 children, one angel and one rainbow baby. This is primarily a vlog channel where we navigate life after stillbirth, raising our son, tackling mental health and grief, and motherhood with ADHD. So quickly, just a little bit of backstory. I was diagnosed with ADHD 11 years ago when I was 25 years old. Back in those days, most insurances did not cover mental health, so I was paying out of pocket not only to see my psychiatrist, but also paying out of pocket for my Adderall. It quickly became something that was way too expensive for me to keep taking. So then I just went to my general practitioner and was prescribed Wellbutrin, which is basically Adderall light. It's kind of like switching from regular coffee to decaf. It's not that effective. So that definitely was not the best medication for me, but it was still better than nothing. So fast forward to my journey to motherhood, I decided to get off all my meds. They're not safe for pregnancy. And for about 2 years, I was basically white knuckling my ADHD symptoms. After my son was born, I decided to go back on Wellbutrin. It just didn't have the right effect, and I decided to just get off of it because what was the point? And we were sort of toying around with the idea of trying to conceive again shortly after our son's first birthday, so why not just stay off of it and just white knuckle it a bit longer? Not a good idea. Not a good idea. My mother recently passed away, and the grief on top of unmedicated ADHD has pretty much turned my symptoms into ADHD on steroids. Really had to make the decision to prioritize my mental health and get back on the med that I knew that was going to work for me, which is Adderall. And it had been almost 5 years since I'd last taken it. So I want to discuss how Adderall feels in contrast to unmedicated ADHD. Let's talk about my unmedicated ADHD first. Buckle up. And I want to preface this with this. ADHD is not some cute, quirky personality trait. It's not cool or trendy to have. It is a very difficult and often debilitating condition. One that has almost been deadly for me on more than one occasion. I've always described my symptoms in these ways. I can hear absolutely everything. Every little sound that's in the house, sounds outside, I hear it all. And it's all at the same volume. And it's very difficult for my brain to try to figure out which sounds are relevant and which ones can be ignored. The ability to filter out sounds or sort of like not hear certain sounds does not exist in this brain. This can often lead to overwhelming feelings of irritability, like my husband's smoke detector in his office just going all day. Every however many seconds, I can just hear it just like stabbing me in the brain all day long on top of everything else that I'm hearing. And my thoughts are very similar. I often describe my thought pattern as feeling like I have, say my fingers represent 10 different thoughts. It's like fireworks all going at the same time in my brain, all overlapping in my brain, all kind of at the same volume in my head. Then usually there's some earworm of a song or like a jingle from a commercial that's playing in the background of my mind. So it's like layers upon layers of different thoughts happening all at the same time. Same thing. This often leads to irritability, frustration with myself for not being able to just focus on one thought at a time. Because no matter how badly I want my brain to be quiet, I can't force it. I can't make it be quiet. Add yet another layer to that. Relationships. Social relationships. Whether it be romantic relationships, you're socializing at a job, your friendships, family members. There's already so much noise in my brain from all the sounds that I hear all at the same volume and all of the thoughts just exploding all at once. So then my husband comes home from work and he asks me a question or asks me how my day went or something. And then I have an auditory processing delay of like 10 to 15 seconds. Sometimes up to 30 or more if I'm hyperfixated on something. Now, my husband's very understanding and he just waits for my brain to catch up. But this can lead people who might not understand to feeling ignored. It can feel like I'm not listening to them, but it takes a while for my brain to catch up and then I give them a response. Time management is awful. I often feel as though each day slips by so fast. I feel like I've done nothing, or I'll hyperfixate on something for 3 hours and it was really kind of a useless thing to hyperfixate on. And then I sort of come out of this hyperfixation, and I'm like, wow, my bladder's screaming, my stomach's like begging for nourishment, and the whole day is pretty much gone to crap. Now that leads me to executive dysfunction. Now all of these symptoms that I aforementioned are just swirling around in my brain, making me anxious, making me feel chaotic, and sometimes paralyzed. That ADHD paralysis, that executive dysfunction of not being able to just get up and do something because I can't figure out which thing to do, makes me feel very frustrated with myself, makes me ask myself, like, why can't I just do something? There is a long list for people with ADHD of unfinished business, projects that have been abandoned. We started 30 different projects and we haven't finished any of them. They all need to be addressed. They all need to be finished, and we can't figure out which one to start or which one to finish or which one to get to next. So as we're dealing with all of this crazy noise in our head and trying to figure out our next move to be successful in life, everything goes unfinished yet again. Sometimes executive dysfunction can be so bad that I spend the entire day sitting on the couch and I can't move or do anything apart from, taking care of my animals and my son. The forgetfulness is another part of executive dysfunction. Let's say I manage to finally say, hey, I'm gonna get up and do this thing. I'm gonna do it. Well, I can get up and immediately, like a few seconds later, I've completely forgotten why I've gotten up and why I've walked into that room and what the hell I'm doing in my closet. Why am I in here? And all of these symptoms combined can lead to feeling extremely anxious, depressed, and low self-esteem, low self-worth, chronically feeling stupid, and that overwhelming feeling of like, why can't I just be normal? Whatever normal is. Enter Adderall. I have described this medication as magical before, because it really is like instant magic for me. Adderall works by increasing the dopamine in my brain, allowing for relief of most of my ADHD symptoms. I think I'm on day 4 since it was prescribed to me again, and I just want to talk about that first day. So it takes about 20 to 30 minutes to kick in, and what I noticed after about 25-30 minutes is that my anxiety levels, which would previously have me feeling like this, were completely at this super low baseline, almost unnoticeable. After about 45 minutes, I would say the depressive, like sort of chronic low self-worth feelings were gone. And the most wonderful effect from this medication of all, I would say, after about 1 hour, my brain was profoundly quiet. Everything was quiet, and it was glorious. Like, I was able to filter all the unnecessary noise. And I mean, I could still hear it, but it was so low that it was not relevant to me at all. Like, all day, my husband, he just recently changed the battery out in the smoke detector, but all day, for a couple of days, it was chirping, and I didn't hear it at all. My executive dysfunction, completely gone. Like I said, magic, fireworks of thoughts, the racing thoughts. Everything was completely slowed down in my brain, quiet, and put in a convenient little list where I could just effortlessly move through each task to completion. And I could stay focused. I wasn't being pulled into a million different directions. I could stay focused on a task to completion and multitask where needed. Way less irritable. Negligible even. Like I maybe a little bit here and there, but it not in the way that it was unmedicated. Forgetfulness was pretty much gone too. Like I was able to remember things without needing lists, like endless lists and alarms on my phone. I could just, in 10 minutes I'm gonna do that, and then 10 minutes later I would do it. My perception of time and my time management is so different on medication. I mean, I talked about how I felt like my days were just slipping through my fingers and going by so fast, and like how is 10 minutes feel like 30 seconds? you know, and why am I wasting so much time like doom scrolling or getting hyper fixated on something? My days are so long now. Like they're almost too long. But I think this is how neurotypical people feel. Like the day, like I'm really actually feeling what 10 minutes really feels like. It's long. Like overall, I feel like the best version of myself. I feel like I can finally function the way I've always wanted to. I feel like a way better mom and a way better partner. I don't need 6 cups of coffee all day long. I literally have the 1 cup in the morning, and then I have no need for any more because I'm not trying to seek dopamine anymore. And on that topic, seeking dopamine, one of my things would be shopping, online shopping. I would just doom scroll through online shopping. I wouldn't necessarily buy a bunch of stuff, but I would be receiving dopamine by looking a bunch of crap online. And I don't do that when I'm on my meds. Like once in a while, oh, we need this, and then I'll go look and, you know, maybe oh, that's nice, but it doesn't take hours away from me anymore. And then there's that profound sense of calm. That's how I know that I have ADHD for sure, because these are amphetamines, you know? I think a neurotypical person taking amphetamine would feel very speedy. They would feel like, you know, I don't know how they would feel, but for me, taking dextroamphetamine, I feel very calm. I feel very slowed down. Like, yes, I'm able to do and accomplish a lot more, but it is with a sense of calm and profound quiet. You know, it's interesting because one of the concerns that my psychiatrist had was that it might, you know, give me tachycardia. And it's been the exact opposite for me. I had tachycardia from my anxiety as a result of my unmedicated ADHD symptoms. And now that I no longer have that anxiety, my heart rate is lower. So it really has been a miracle, magical medication for me. All that being said, I don't think Adderall is right for everyone, but this is my experience, and I really hope it helped any neurotypical people understand ADHD better. And if you have ADHD and you're on the fence about medication, I hope this video might help you make whatever decision is best for your mental health.